Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In Shivers Total, we're going to be talking about the positives and negatives from Undisputed second beta. Now I have a ton of gameplay still to show you guys, and some of you may be unaware of the good or bad things I'm about to list, as I have seen some people in my current gameplays give me suggestions on how to do things, as if I'm being an idiot and not just knowing it's a bug. Like for example, in the stunned state, something I'll address in a minute, you can move way too fast when you're rocked. I've seen people say, if you cut the ring off, you'll be able to catch them, as if circling away is not like a known issue that the devs are currently looking into. So you may see some of the issues that I list in future gameplays, so just be aware. As always, I'll be completely unbiased. I do of course support this game and the company, but sucking them off gets us nowhere. You guys know that. They need to know the criticism. I'm not saying they watch the videos, but just in case they do, it's always a good video to make. I've made it on most of the gameplays I've played. The betas when I played back in March. I've made all these videos so you guys get an idea of what's good, what's bad, and kind of what direction the game is going in. Now before we get into it, remember, stuff like switching stance, clinch and flash knockdowns were disabled for this beta. That makes pretty good sense in my opinion. Some things aren't where they want it to be. Instead of holding the whole beta back, they just remove a few features. Not like they're removing the jab, they're just removing a couple of features that will be more handy in early access with a variety of fighters. Now I'm going to break it down into 3 points, negatives, positives and overall. So we're going to start with the negatives, get the bad out of the way, and not all of them are huge, oh my god, game-breaking issues. Some of them are just smaller, petty details that I've put in, but everything is just something that I wanted to address. I'm going to start with the two most glaring that everybody experienced at some point throughout this beta if they played more than 10 fights. The first one being ghost punches. Now, we don't really have a name for it. Some people have called it ghost, some people have called it phantom punches, whatever. Pretty much punches that don't land, are miles away, don't ever leave the pocket on your screen. So for example, I was rocked several times with an uppercut that never appeared. I was flash KO'd by a shot that never landed. I was stunned with a body shot that never got thrown. Things like that, that's a glaring issue. That's something that they are already fixing ASAP. Of course, these things happen, and the good thing about it is this wasn't something that happened every fight. You know, this wasn't okay, every time I've lost it's been this, and every time I've won it's been this. It was literally 1 in 10 fights this would happen, but it seemed to, and of course it's just one of those things where typical time, and it happened at the most important times. For example, a rematch I was having with a guy, I was... Final round, I was wilder, having that big power, he was tired, and I get dropped twice by, on my screen, punches that never appeared. It's just one of those things, it happens, it's extremely frustrating. We've all addressed it, we've said, listen, this needs to be fixed ASAP. This is one thing that I would say is not good enough. The second glaring issue, and then the rest of the negatives aren't really hugely glaring, but I just want to address the two glaring issues, and that is the stun state. Now, when you're rocked, I think the fact that they've got like flash stuns is super useful, because like if someone walks into a shot like at the right time, right place, right time, all that, you know, all those stereotypes of right on the button kind of thing, you can stun someone quickly. It's great. You don't need to barrage them to hurt them. But when they are stunned, it is near impossible to catch them unless you are fighting someone who's not familiar with how to circle away due to the issues that the stun state has. You can catch them, but other than that, if they're in the corner, you will get them. But if you stun them in the middle of the ring, you might as well not even waste your stamina. You have to be extremely lucky. They either have to circle into your hand, and it's not like, okay, if they circle to the right, I'll throw my lead hand as a southpaw. If they circle to the left, I'll throw my back hook as a southpaw. It's one of those things where these shots just didn't land. They would roll off the head, roll off the shoulder, wouldn't do any damage. If you caught them against the ropes and hit them with a power jab, power straight, you wouldn't do that much damage. So the stun state is something that needs to be completely looked at, because there were so many fights that could have gone differently. Against a mate of mine, actually, we rematched a bunch due to timed searches. We were quite clever with it, and there were several fights where I probably could have taken the win away from him in a close decision loss had the stun state been slower. My suggestion was, for a little while they figure out what to do, is if a stun fighter touches the ropes or falls into the corner, they then struggle to circle away, so they're extremely slow. And my mate also suggested if it's a body rock, you shouldn't be able to move fast at all. If you guys know from boxing or if you do MMA, if you hurt to the body, you do not want to walk. You are in agony. So I think that's a good one. If it's a body rock, you move extremely slow. If it's a head rock, it's hard to control. And if you fall into the ropes, you always see in real life, the fighter's hurt up against the ropes and he's stuck there. I think that would be a couple of good ideas, at least until they figure out what they want to do. Next one is uppercut head detection. Now, although when it does land, it's nasty, and I have rocked someone, I have knocked someone down, and I have finished a fight with an uppercut, especially a power uppercut in this game, they don't land often. You could argue that to an uppercut is a very hard shot to land because it is coming up from a certain area. It has to hit on a certain place of the head. A lot of the time it's going to hit the shoulder, the neck, the guard. That does happen, but I did notice sometimes on the inside the arm just wouldn't want to go to the head. It would just go to the elbow and stop. Just things like that. That's a little bit annoying. But like I said, when it does land, and it's much more consistent than the first beta, I have to say. It's much more consistent than the first beta. When it does land, it's super nasty. Next one is Power Punch stamina usage. They did end up tweaking it in day 3, but people were able to spam Power Punch jabs, Power Punch straights, and Power Punch hooks with little to no punishment on stamina. But like I said, they did tweak it, and day 3 was a lot more competitive. I know this is an issue I think we all have, and that is repetitive commentary. This game is starting to make me hate Todd Grisham, I'm not going to lie. Next one is inconsistent shots to animations. For example, a body shot that ends up looking like I've knocked someone out cold, but then the count, they're on their knee. So right there, you've got the pieces to the puzzle, but they haven't put them in the right order. So they've got a great knockout animation. They've got the ragdoll on point, and they've got the on a knee count like you would from a body knockdown, but they're all jumbled up. That's what I've been saying, is they have all of the knockdown animations, the punch reactions, and the counts in the right place. They're just not been put together right. And I had it a few times where it happened with a Rocky for some reason a couple of times. I hit him in the body and he went completely limp, and then the count, he was on one knee. So they're just not put together right. But then I did have knockdowns that were perfect, a body shot where he would fall to one knee in the animation. That just happened. There was a few as well where you would knock someone out with a head punch, but they would just stand still and then they would go into the count. Just a glitch. Just good to address it. Now, this only happened to me once, but I still want to mention it. I dropped Rocky at the end of round 1. Once he got up, the round never ended and we both became invincible. Extremely annoying as I was battering that dude. Yeah, frustrating. Next one is being sticky on the inside. Don't be gross, you dirty-minded people. You all thought something gross. I know you did. And what I mean by that is when you're inside fighting, it feels extra difficult to break the inside fighting. It feels like you have to pull away extra hard and you take shots on the way out. I noticed that backstepping does help with that, but that's also a drain of stamina that you don't want to use. That's something maybe they could look at. I don't know if maybe when you enter the pocket, it becomes like an inside fighting thing, so it takes a while to break that outer wall. I don't know, but we'll have to see. Power Punch straights, especially with Wilder, were far too easy to abuse. I noticed less of that once Power Punches cost more stamina if you missed, but still, it's too easy to throw 5 or 6 or 7 in a row, and the animations flow together nicely, which is weird because it's a really ugly set of punches to throw. Inconsistent counters, you could literally sum up the counters with one meme.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
And that's the meme I would use to sum up the counters. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're terrible, sometimes they are worth using, sometimes they are not. I noticed that body counters were better than head counters in terms of hurting an opponent, but just something that needs to be put up. The consistency of the counters just need to be put up. Next thing is get up. It's always in the center of the ring. I know it's a video game, but I would still like to see if they could improve that somehow. I know it wouldn't be easy to program, but I would like to see the count start where you fall. So if you fall in the corner, the count starts there. But that is an insane amount of variety that they need to do. That's why Fight Night went for the first person, because you didn't need to beat anyway. You didn't need to have the fighter anyway. You just need to have a camera in wherever you fall. So that was much easier, but I'd like to see that, but I know it's not going to be easy. When you really think about it, if I slump someone in the corner, then that means that they've got to be in that exact ragdoll position, and they've got to get up without any glitches from like standing on the ropes. So when you really think about it, that's not easy at all. It is a video game. There are limitations, but just something I wanted to address there. And the final one is judges. This is in both positive and negative. Some of them still seemed pretty tunnel visioned. So that was my list of negatives. All things either glaring or just petty and issues that I experienced. Overall, I think the way to look at these negatives is there's nothing here that cannot be fixed. I'm not seeing anything, like I said, nothing was game breaking. Even the 2 glaring ones that we all mentioned was ghost punches and stun states. There was still more knockout finishes in day 1 of this beta than there was in the entire day 3 days of the first beta. So the stun states, while an issue, that it's not like no one was getting knocked out because of it. The ghost punches were an issue, but you weren't getting people saying, this has happened to me 10 fights in a row. Most people were like, damn, I was 6-0 and I've just lost because of a ghost punch. That's unlucky. Anyways, next fight. People were just having a damn good time. So, you know, this is why it was hard for me to write these negatives, because I had so much fun, but I needed to kind of get on my negative mindset and really pick at this gameplay. And that's the list I got. Now it's time to move on to the happier stuff, which is the positives. Now, the flash KOs, absolutely sensational. Absolutely. There is nothing better than getting a flash knockout. Just, yes, you could argue it's RNG. Well, be careful. You know, I had a few, and all of them felt right. You know, Rocky Marciano, I know he's got a good chin in that. Like, I know he's got a good chin, and you know, you'd need generational power to knock him out. But I done a perfect sidestep, power straight counter right across the chin that knocked him out cold. I done a power jab that he walked straight into. I knocked out someone else with a perfect 1-2-3 combination. The flash knockouts are absolutely insane. For a boxing game, they're absolutely awesome. And I noticed that everyone that was flash KO'd, I was flash KO'd too. Everyone that was flash KO'd who put it in the Discord were never pissed about it. Everyone was like, oh my god, I've just been flash KO'd. GG to that guy. You know, I was winning, but oh well. You know, it always seems just like it happens. People understand it, and it's so much fun. The knockout and knockdown animation / ragdolls I think are absolutely awesome. Obviously, I did mention that the inconsistent shots landed to the animations, but the animations themselves are awesome. The way, you know, the arms get caught on the ropes, they get slumped in the corner, their knees go, their body goes, their head goes, their arms just go limp. I think it's absolutely awesome. The way they go down to a knee when they're hitting the body. I think the animations and the ragdolls are really on point. They're not crazy. There is a few crazy ones out there, I won't lie. But the ragdolls and animations are, yeah, they're really good. I think what's exciting is they're not done with it. So it's going to be exciting to see what gets added next. You know, once maybe certain shots become more useful, once we get flash knockdowns, are we going to see a whole new world of it? You know, people getting slumped onto their ass all of a sudden. It's exciting to think about. The stop and power in shots like power jabs, guys. That was one thing that I addressed in the first beta. Had a discussion on Twitter with a few people saying, like, you know, there is stop and power. I just think people just don't understand it. I think people are always looking at it from a video game point of view. And in real life, you know, if you guys spar, fight, whatever, you'll know some shots stop you in your tracks. And that's what I meant by stop and power. I think people think meant like stopping the fight. But if you're walking towards someone, you know, if you're getting a bit of a stop going and bang, a big jab cracks you back, you do notice your body follows your head. And if your head goes back, your feet don't step forward. And we saw a lot of that in this. You know, if someone's walking forward and you crack them with a 1-2, it doesn't even need to be a power jab. It could just be a 1-2, up. And sometimes they'll stop in their tracks and then be able to walk forward again. And that's what I meant by stop and power in shots. And they've done it. They've listened. Well done to them. The next one is combination punching. In my opinion, it's been far, far improved. Things link together nicely. They don't look as messy as they once did. Still not perfect, but the combination punching has definitely improved. The way you can put together, for example, one of my favorite, my favorite couple of punch combinations for starters is the 1-2. I love that. Then you got the 1-2-3, and then one that I love is the jab straight, lead hook, backhand hook, lead uppercut, and then back step, and maybe follow up with the straight. Things like that. Those combinations flow together really nice. The response of the controls were far better in this beta than the first one. I didn't feel like I needed to press a button 3 times for it to listen to me once. They responded instantly. Now, in terms of game plans and gameplay, every game plan works, and it works well if you know how to use it. I won fights by being a bully. I won fights by being a jab master. I won fights by being a combination fighter. I won fights by being a counter fighter. Every game plan works. It works well. I had lost fights where I was being out-jabbed. I lost fights where I was being bullied. It happens. You know, you learn to bounce back from it. Flash stuns, of course, one of the only flash things we don't have is flash knockdowns. I like the flash stuns. Sometimes they felt inconsistent in a way that you would land 6 or 7 big shots onto someone, you would be cracking them, and all they need to do was land one, and you'd be stunned. Frustrating. Yes, it can happen in boxing, but it felt to be like they started to gain a random numbers game, an RNG advantage against you because they were getting tagged. That's how it felt. I don't know if that's how they've programmed it, but I had a few fights where I was tagging the shit out of people. They would land one shot and I would be stunned, even if I had my guard up. So it just feels like sometimes that gives them the RNG advantage because they're getting tagged. Then you've got uniqueness of the fighters. I tell you what, there was a few people saying that Roy Jones isn't throwing punches or moving like Roy Jones. Those people are on crack. Roy Jones looked bloody awesome. Wilder, the way he threw his jabs and straights felt insane. You felt so dangerous with Wilder. It was awesome. Same with Jessica McCaskill, Chantel Cameron, Katie Taylor. All really nasty shots. Nasty jabs from all three ladies. Katie Taylor's body shots were vicious. Usyk's footwork was really nice. Rocky Marciano was a real bully on the inside and could take shots on the guard. Had a good chin. The fighters feel good, and the traits, they add a level to that. And the uniqueness of the fighters is a big tick from me. Stamina punishments from missing too often or shots to the body. In the first beta, we had very little stamina punishment, as in even if your stamina was low, you weren't getting punished for it. This time, your stamina lowers pretty quickly, and also you can be punished for it. And that is from missing a lot of shots as well as strikes to the body. If you're getting hit in the body a lot, you do see your stamina start to deplete and your fighter becomes more exhausted. And if you are low on short-term stamina, you do notice that a body shot is more likely to stun you than a headshot, because obviously you could imagine it as if you're exhausted. Take a deep breath, you're breathing in, you get hit as you're taking that deep breath. Ouch, I'm stunned. Oh, I've just shit my pants in the ring. You know, that happens. Happens to the best of us, guys. Move on. The movement to punching combination, creating angles to strike. Absolutely incredible. You guys have probably seen my gameplay. Now, that sounds really arrogant. The reason I say that is because that video's got like 11,000 views of me sidestepping and using my flash KO with Usyk against Rocky Marciano. Create the perfect angle. He missed the shots. The perfect straight across the side of the chin. Out cold. And that was what I mean. You create those angles. I thought I've got a fight coming soon. I don't want to spoil it, against a Usyk, and I was Wilder. And the angles this guy created against me made me change my game plan every 2 rounds. He was really impressive, and the angles you can create are like nothing I've ever seen in a video game before. Nothing I've ever seen in a fighting video game before. It's crazy. The footwork just links with the punching so well. Trait system is something that I love. It adds another level to the fighters. I have got a video coming out talking about the traits and the stats and everything like that, so look out for that. Which is why when fighting Katie, you're at such a disadvantage. Jessica and Chantel had 0 traits. Every fighter needs traits. At least every, I don't know, contender to champion needs traits. Chantel Cameron, I believe, is a unified world champion right now. She doesn't have a trait. That is disgusting. Katie Taylor is more mainstream, yes, but we need to see more traits in every fighter. They were the only 2 that didn't have traits. Nigel Benn, Roy Jones, Wilder, Usyk, Rocky, Katie Taylor, all had traits. But I think because Jessica and Chantel Cameron are not mainstream outside of the UK, I think that's why they didn't have traits in this beta. I don't want to be that guy, but I think that's just somewhat disrespectful. I hope it's just a current placeholder. Even if they just give them some basic ones to do with their jabs and maybe shots while moving as well as planting their feet, something like that would be simple and it would make sense. The intro cutscenes have massively improved, which is great to see. The get up minigame, and people seem to be learning to do it, which is awesome. I'm really happy that people are finally learning to use the get up minigame. It seems more difficult this time than the last time. If you guys remember my gameplay that went kind of viral in the community, it's got like 70,000 views. I got up like 4 times. This one I struggled to get up twice, 3 times. It's very bizarre. But maybe I'm just not as good, or maybe they made it difficult. Who knows? The tutorial, that was a great job for them to put that in. I think that gave people that time to practice, that time to play, even when the servers weren't up. And I don't mean there were server crashes, I mean the servers weren't up, as in like, because obviously they opened at a certain time, which is funny because we were expecting 8 to 11, and then we got 3 days of non-stop beta, which is insane. The directional punching and its uses, insane, guys. The directional punching is stuff of legends. I love it. The way you can just navigate around a fight is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm such a huge fan of it. I didn't use it early in the beta, but the more I started to use it, I used a lot of the backstep jab and backstep straight in the first beta, and I kind of forgot for this one. And when Usyk came about, I started to use more directional jabs and directional straights to create those angles. And directional punches, combinations, and footwork, as well as creating angles, they all go hand in hand with each other. They're really onto something here. They really are. And last 2, you got, this was in actually the negatives as well, which is judges. They're not as random as beta number 1. They still have issues. And the last one for the positives is the servers. I had no server issues whatsoever. Really impressed with that. In a month's work, well done to them. Really, really impressed. Overall, guys, a massive improvement over the first beta and any gameplay we've seen so far. I honestly really enjoyed myself and only ever found myself getting annoyed at the issues that I mentioned once or twice, and it's just the two glaring ones like I mentioned, the ghost punches and stun states. But the other issues, I can live with that for early access, as early access is literally a consistent, constantly improving build that we get to play, so that's a win-win. The server improvements are massive, the players seem to be getting better, the fact that they are consistently updating a beta is insane to me. This beta pushes beta number 1 to like a 3 or 4 out of 10. That first beta looks trash compared to this, and I give this beta an 8 out of 10, honestly. I enjoyed almost every fight I had, and the ones I didn't enjoy was down to the player and not the game. Overall, a really great experience. I hope if they do another beta, we're allowed to invite friends. If not, I think early access will be mid to late January. Overall, a really, really fun experience that I cannot fault. Of course, it does have its negatives, but as I've been saying, guys, this is a video game. Video games have their negatives, and, you know, we're in an era right now where companies are putting out half-baked games and expecting us to pay 60 quid for it. So I'm always happy when I can play a game for 25 odd hours over 3 days and be like, you know what, I didn't experience that many issues in a beta. I'm always happy with that. So overall, really impressed, really had a good time, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. And yeah, I can't sing its praises enough, but also I have to point out the negatives like I did in this video. Yeah, let me know if you guys experienced anything different to me. I saw a few people have some negative experiences due to the people they were fighting, which was due to some of the things I mentioned, like power punch spam being, you know, not you weren't ever bothered because they didn't punish your stamina. Once they did in day 3, I then saw them same people saying, you know what, I've had a much more positive day, which is awesome. So, you know, constantly improving. I think that's what's exciting, guys, is this right now from this beta, whether you loved it, liked it, you were iffy about it, you saw the potential but you didn't have fun because of people you played, it can only get better from here, and I think that is exciting. But anyways, thanks for watching. At the time you guys are seeing this, I will not be around. I'll be away, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace out.